The rain hammered against the roof of the Thorn Manor like a relentless drum solo, a fitting soundtrack for the misery that permeated every inch of the sprawling estate. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of antiseptic and stale anger. Out! Get out! The roar echoed down the grand staircase, followed by the terrifying crash of porcelain shattering against a wall. A young woman in a nurse's uniform came running down the stairs, tears streaming down her face, clutching her bag to her chest. "I quit!" she screamed at the stoic butler standing by the door. "He's a monster! He threw a vase at me! I don't care how much you pay! I'm not going back in there!" She fled into the stormy night, leaving the heavy oak door swinging in the wind. I stood in the shadows of the foyer, my violin case heavy on my back, water dripping from my cheap raincoat onto the pristine marble floor. I wasn't a nurse. I was Lara Vance, a 22-year-old music student who was 3 months behind on rent and desperate enough to take any job. The agency had sent me here as a companion, someone to read books and play music for the invalid billionaire. But looking at the shattered vase at the top of the stairs, I wondered if I had made a terrible mistake. "Miss Vance." The butler turned to me. His name was Alfred, and he looked like he hadn't smiled since the Cold War. "Yes," I squeaked. "Mr. Thorne is difficult today," Alfred said, closing the front door and shutting out the storm. "He has dismissed 5 nurses in 2 days. He is currently refusing medication and food." I'm not a nurse," I reminded him. "I'm the musician." Music might be the only thing that soothes the savage beast. Alfred sighed. "Follow me, and whatever you do, do not mention his eyes. Do not offer him pity, and if he throws something, duck." We walked up the sweeping staircase. The house was magnificent, a Gothic masterpiece of dark wood and velvet, but it felt like a tomb. All the curtains were drawn tight, plunging the hallways into perpetual twilight. Alfred stopped in front of a double door at the end of the hall. He knocked once, then opened it without waiting for an answer. "Sir, the new companion is here." "I don't want a companion," a voice growled from the darkness. "I want to be left alone to rot." Alfred ushered me inside and closed the door behind me. I heard the lock click. I was trapped. The room was pitch black. Thick blackout curtains covered the windows. The only light came from the crack under the door. I couldn't see anything, but I could hear him. Heavy, ragged breathing, the sound of fabric rustling, the clinking of glass. "Who are you?" the voice demanded. It was deep, rough, and laced with a bitterness so potent I could almost taste it. "Another nurse. Another spy sent by the board to see if I'm incompetent." "No," I whispered, clutching my violin case. "I'm Alara. I'm here to play for you." "Play?" He let out a harsh, barking laugh. "Play what games? I'm a blind girl, not deaf. I can hear your heart pounding from here. You're terrified." "I'm not terrified," I lied, stepping forward cautiously. My foot hit something. A book. "I'm just adjusting to the dark." "Don't turn on the lights," he snapped. "I can't see them anyway, but I can feel them. They burn." "I won't," I promised. I found a chair by feeling around in the dark. I sat down and opened my violin case. The familiar smell of rosin and wood calmed me. "What are you doing?" he asked, his voice closer now. He must be sitting on the bed. "I'm going to play," I said. "Bach, Cello Suite No. 1, transcribed for violin." "I hate Bach," he grumbled. "It's too organized, too perfect. Life isn't perfect." "Then I'll play it imperfectly," I said. I lifted the violin to my chin. I took a deep breath and drew the bow across the strings. The first note was shaky. I was nervous, but as the melody took hold, I closed my eyes. In the dark, the music was the only thing that mattered. It swirled around us, filling the empty, angry space with something beautiful and sad. I played for 10 minutes. When I finished, the silence in the room was different. It wasn't heavy anymore. It was listening. "You missed a note," he said finally. "I told you I would," I replied, putting the violin down. I heard the bed creak. "Come here." I froze. "Why?" "I want to know who is in my room. I can't see you. I need to verify." I hesitated, but I needed this job. I walked slowly towards the sound of his voice. I reached the edge of the bed. "Closer," he commanded. I took another step. My knee bumped against the mattress. A hand shot out from the darkness. It grabbed my wrist. His grip was strong, his fingers calloused. He pulled me down until I was sitting on the edge of the bed. "You're small." He observed his hand moving up my arm to my shoulder. He wasn't groping me. He was mapping me. "And you smell like rain and cheap soap." "Hey," I protested. "It's lavender." "It's chemical lavender," he corrected. "But it's better than the hospital smell the nurses reek of." His hand moved to my face. His fingertips brushed my cheekbone, my jaw, my lips. His touch was surprisingly gentle for a man who threw vases. "Your skin is cold," he murmured. "I walked here in the rain." "Why?" "Because I can't afford a taxi," I said honestly. He paused. His thumb traced my lower lip. "You're poor." "I'm a student," I corrected. "There's a difference." "Not to me," he said. He withdrew his hand. "Play something else. Something angry. Something that sounds like glass breaking." I smiled in the dark. "I know just the piece." I played for him for hours. I played Paganini. I played Vivaldi's Winter. I played until my fingers ached and my arm was heavy. Jasper, that was his name. Jasper Thorne listened. He didn't speak. He just breathed. And slowly the tension left his body. "Are you hungry?" he asked suddenly, interrupting a particularly difficult cadenza. "Starving," I admitted. My stomach growled loudly, betraying me. "Alfred!" he bellowed. The door opened instantly. Light flooded in, blinding me for a second. "Sir?" Alfred asked, looking surprised to find me still alive. "Bring food," Jasper ordered. "For two, and wine, the 96 Bordeaux." "For two, sir." "Did I stutter?" Jasper snapped. "And turn off the hall light. It's too bright." Alfred closed the door, plunging us back into darkness. We ate dinner in the dark. It was a bizarre experience. I fumbled with my fork, trying to find the steak on my plate. Jasper ate with practiced ease, cutting his meat perfectly. "How do you do that?" I asked. "I count," he said. 3 inches from the edge. 12 o'clock is meat, 3 o'clock is potatoes." "You've been blind for how long?" "3 months," he said, his voice tightening. "Car accident, airbag deployment, detached retinas, trauma to the optic nerve." Will you see again?" Silence. The fork clinked against the plate. "The doctors say maybe. They say I need surgery. But the success rate is low." "Are you going to do it?" "Why bother?" he sneered. "So I can see the pity in everyone's eyes, so I can see my company being run into the ground by my idiot cousin. The dark is better. It's honest." "It's lonely," I said softly. "I like lonely." "Liar," I said. He stopped eating. "Excuse me." "You threw a vase because you were lonely," I said, emboldened by the wine. "You scream because you want someone to scream back. You don't want to be alone, Jasper. You just want someone who isn't afraid of the dark." He was silent for a long time. I thought I had gone too far. I thought he was going to fire me. Then he reached out across the table. His hand found mine. He squeezed it. "Tomorrow," he said. "Come back tomorrow, at noon. And bring your violin." "I have class at noon," I said. "Skip it," he said. "I'll pay for your tuition. I'll pay for your rent. Just come back. I looked at his hand holding mine. I looked at the darkness that surrounded him. Okay, I whispered. I'll come back. I left the manor at midnight. The rain had stopped. The air was crisp and clean. Alfred was waiting for me at the door with an envelope. Mr. Thorne asked me to give you this, he said. Your payment for the week. I opened it. It was a check. For $5,000. I stared at it. It was more money than I had ever seen. This is too much, I said. It is hazard pay, Alfred said with a rare small smile. You are the first person who has made him eat in weeks. See you tomorrow, Miss Vance. I walked home clutching the check. My heart was racing, not from the money, but from the memory of his hand on my face, the way he listened to my music. Jasper Thorne was a monster, a blind, angry, broken monster. But in the dark, monsters didn't look so scary. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I had found something worth playing for. The next day, I arrived at Thorne Manor at precisely noon. The sun was shining a cruel irony considering the eternal night inside. Alfred greeted me with a nod, his expression a shade less grim than the day before. He's in the conservatory, Alfred informed me. He refused lunch until you arrived. The conservatory was a glass-walled room filled with exotic plants that were slowly dying from neglect. The blinds were drawn, of course, filtering the sunlight into a sickly gray haze. Jasper sat in a wicker chair looking like a king in exile. He was wearing a casual sweater today, the sleeves pushed up to his elbows. He looked younger, less formidable, but the tension in his shoulders remained. You're late, he said the moment I stepped in. It's 12:01, I countered, placing my violin case on a table. Traffic. Excuses, he grunted, but I saw his hand relax on the armrest. Did you skip class? Yes, my professor was not happy. I'll buy the conservatory a new wing. He waved a hand dismissively. Now play. Something hopeful, but not annoying. I smiled, tuning my violin. I played Debussy's Clair de Lune. It was soft, ethereal, like moonlight filtering through water. Jasper leaned back, his head tilting towards the sound. He looked peaceful. When I finished, he didn't speak immediately. You have good hands, he said finally. Strong, precise. Musician's hands, I said. Come here. I walked over to him. This time, I wasn't as afraid. Give me your hand, he ordered. I extended my hand. He took it in both of his. He ran his thumbs over my calloused fingertips, tracing the lines of my palm. It was an intimate gesture, bordering on inappropriate, but in his world of darkness, touch was language. You have a callus here, he touched my index finger. And here. Violin strings are sharp, I explained, and here. He touched a small scar on my wrist. Burn, I said, from a curling iron, before prom. I was trying to be pretty. You are pretty, he stated matter-of-factly. I blushed, grateful he couldn't see it. How would you know? Your voice, he said. It has texture, like velvet. And you smell like rain. Ugly people don't smell like rain. I laughed. That's terrible logic. I'm a billionaire. He shrugged. My logic is law. He pulled me closer. I was standing between his knees now. Read to me, he said abruptly. I'm tired of music. I want words. What do you want to read on how anything? The newspaper, a contract, the ingredients on a cereal box. I just want to hear your voice. I looked around. There was a stack of books on a side table. I picked one up at random. The Great Gatsby. A classic, I said, sitting on the floor at his feet. I began to read. In my younger and more vulnerable years, I read for an hour. Jasper listened intently, occasionally interrupting to critique Fitzgerald's prose or ask me to repeat a sentence he liked. It was Nice. Domestic. Stop, he said suddenly. My head hurts. Do you want an aspirin? No, I want pressure. Here. He pointed to his temples. I stood up and moved behind his chair. I placed my fingers on his temples and began to massage. His skin was warm. I could feel the pulse beating steadily beneath my fingertips. Harder, he groaned. I pressed harder. He leaned his head back against me, his hair tickling my stomach. It was an incredibly vulnerable position. I could have snapped his neck. Instead, I soothed his pain. Why are you so good at this? He mumbled, his eyes closed. My mother had migraines. I lied. The truth was I was just good with my hands. You're a mystery, Alara, he said. A poor music student with magic hands and a voice like sin. Sin? I raised an eyebrow. You make me want things, he whispered. Things I haven't wanted since the accident. My hands stilled. Like what? He reached up and grabbed my wrists, pulling my hands down to his chest. He held them there over his heart. Like hope, he said, and touch. He turned in the chair, pulling me around until I was facing him. He didn't let go of my hands. Can I touch your face? He asked. It was the first time he had asked for permission. Yes, I breathed. He lifted his hands. He started at my forehead, tracing my hairline. Then his fingers moved down to my eyes, fluttering over my lashes like butterflies. He traced the slope of my nose, the curve of my cheekbones. When his fingers reached my lips, I trembled. You're soft, he murmured. So soft. His thumb brushed my lower lip, parting it slightly. Jasper. Shh, he whispered. Let me see you. He leaned forward. I didn't pull away. I leaned in too. His lips found mine. It wasn't a demanding kiss. It was a question, a search in the dark. His lips were chapped, tasting of coffee and longing. I kissed him back, tentative at first, then with growing confidence. He groaned low in his throat, his hands moving from my face to my waist, pulling me closer. I stumbled, falling onto his lap. He caught me, his arms wrapped around me, holding me tight. We kissed for a long time in the dim conservatory, surrounded by dying plants and the scent of rain. It felt like the world had stopped, like we were the only two people left in existence. Suddenly, the door opened. Sir, the doctor is here, Alfred announced, then stopped abruptly. We broke apart. I scrambled off Jasper's lap, smoothing my skirt, my face burning. Jasper didn't look embarrassed. He looked annoyed. Send him away, he barked. But, sir, the surgery consultation. I said send him away. Jasper roared, standing up. He grabbed his cane and swept a potted orchid off the table. It crashed to the floor, shattering the moment. I don't need a doctor. I don't need false hope. Get out. Alfred retreated, closing the door softly. Jasper stood there, breathing heavily, his back to me. The anger was back. The monster was back. Jasper, I said softly. Go. He said, his voice cold. Leave. But I said leave. He turned to face me, his unseeing eyes wide and wild. Before I break something else. Before I break you. I grabbed my violin case and ran. I ran out of the conservatory, down the hall, and out the front door. I didn't stop running until I reached the bus stop. My lips still tingled from his kiss. But my heart ached from his rejection. He was a storm, and I was standing right in the eye of it. But as I sat on the bus watching the rain streak the window, I realized something. I wasn't afraid of the storm anymore. I wanted to be the lightning that guided him home. I didn't go back the next day, or the day after that. I needed space. I needed to remember who I was, a struggling student, not a billionaire's plaything. But my apartment felt too quiet, and my violin sounded hollow without him listening. On the third day, Alfred called. "Miss Vance," his voice was tight. "He hasn't eaten." "That's not my problem, Alfred. He's asking for you. He he apologized to the wall, but he meant it for you." I sighed, looking at my bank account balance. It was pitiful. "I'll be there in an hour." When I arrived, the manor was even darker than usual. Alfred led me to the piano room. Jasper was sitting at the grand piano. He wasn't playing. He was just sitting there, head bowed, fingers resting on the keys. "You came," he said without turning around. "I need the money," I lied. He chuckled dryly. "Liar. You came because you're worried about me." He turned on the bench. He looked terrible. Stubble covered his jaw. His clothes were rumpled. "I'm sorry," he said. "About the other day. I lose control." "I noticed," I said, putting down my bag. "Are you going to throw a piano at me this time?" "Only if you play Bach," he smirked. I walked over to him. "Move over." He scooted to the side. I sat next to him on the bench. Our thighs touched. "What are we playing?" he asked. "Nothing," I said. "We're talking about the surgery." He stiffened. "No." "Yes," I insisted. "Why are you so afraid, Jasper? You have the money. You have the best doctors." "Because what if it fails?" he whispered, turning his face away. "Right now I have the hope that maybe one day I'll see again. If the surgery fails, that hope dies. I'll be in the dark forever, and I don't think I can survive that." "You're already in the dark," I said gently. "And you're surviving. But you're not living." I took his hand. I placed it on my face. "Look at me, Jasper. Use your hands." He traced my features again, slowly, memorizing me. "I want to see you," he admitted, his voice cracking. "I want to see if your eyes are as kind as your voice. I want to see if you smile when you play." "Then take the risk," I said. "Do it for yourself. Do it for me." He was silent for a long time. Then he nodded. "Okay," he whispered. "I'll do it." The next week was a whirlwind. Tests, scans, preparations. I stayed at the manor, reading to him, playing for him, keeping him calm. We grew closer. The touches became more frequent, more lingering. We slept in the same bed, clothed, chaste but intimate. He held me like a teddy bear, his fears melting away in my arms. The day of the surgery arrived. I waited in the private waiting room for 6 hours. Alfred brought me tea I couldn't drink. Finally, the doctor came out. "It went well," he said. "We reattached the retina. The nerve looks promising, but we won't know for sure until the bandages come off in 2 days." I went to see him in recovery. He was groggy, his eyes covered in thick bandages. "Lara," he croaked. "I'm here." I took his hand. "Did I die?" "No, you're just high on morphine." He squeezed my hand. "Stay. I'm not going anywhere." 2 days later, the unveiling. The room was dim. The doctor slowly unwrapped the bandages. My heart was in my throat. "Open your eyes slowly, Mr. Thorne," the doctor instructed. Jasper blinked. Once, twice. He squinted against the low light. "Well," I whispered. He turned his head. He looked around the room. Then his eyes landed on me. They were blue, piercing, vibrant blue. He stared at me. He didn't speak. He just stared. "Jasper," I asked, terrified. "Can you see me?" A slow smile spread across his face. "You're beautiful," he whispered. "More beautiful than I imagined." I burst into tears. He reached out accurately this time and wiped my tears away. "Don't cry," he said. "I want to see you smile." I smiled. He laughed. A pure, joyful sound. "I can see," he shouted. "I can see." He pulled me into a kiss. It was the best kiss of my life. It was a celebration, a promise. "Marry me," he murmured against my lips. "What, marry me, Alara. I don't want to spend another second without seeing you." "You're crazy," I laughed. "You just got your sight back. You should see the world first." "You are my world," he said simply. We were happy for exactly 24 hours. Then the devil knocked on the door. Or rather, she walked right in. Vanessa Jasper's ex-fiancée. The woman who left him the day after his accident. She was stunning, tall, blonde, expensive. She walked into the hospital room holding a bouquet of roses. "Jasper," she cried, rushing to him. "I heard the news. It's a miracle." Jasper looked at her. His expression hardened. "Vanessa, what are you doing here?" "I came to see you, silly," she said, ignoring me completely. "I was so worried." "Worried?" Jasper scoffed. "You didn't call for 3 months." "I was giving you space," she lied smoothly. "I knew you needed to heal, but I never stopped loving you." She leaned in to kiss him. Jasper turned his head. "I have a girlfriend," he said, pointing to me. "Alara." Vanessa turned to look at me. Her eyes raked over my cheap clothes, my messy hair. She laughed. The help." "She's not the help," Jasper said. "She's the woman who saved me." "Saved you?" Vanessa raised an eyebrow. "Oh, Jasper, you're confused. You're vulnerable. You've been alone in the dark with this girl. Of course you think you have feelings for her. It's dependency, not love." "Get out," Jasper said. "I'll go," Vanessa said, placing a card on the table. "But think about it, darling. We belong together. We're the same. She's just a phase." She walked out, hips swaying. I felt sick. "Don't listen to her," Jasper said, grabbing my hand. "She's jealous." "She's right," I whispered. "I'm not like you, Jasper. I'm poor. I'm nobody." "You're somebody to me," he said fiercely. But the seed of doubt was planted, and Vanessa wasn't done. The next day I arrived at the manor to find my keycard didn't work. Alfred opened the door. He looked sad. "I'm sorry, Miss Vance," he said. "Mr. Thorne is occupied." "Occupied with Miss Vanessa. She moved back in this morning." "Moved in." "She convinced him she has legal rights to the house. And she brought his mother. Jasper's mother. The Iron Lady who hated everyone." "I need to talk to him," I said. He left instructions. Alfred handed me an envelope. "For your services." I opened it. A check for $50,000 and a note, not in Jasper's handwriting. "Thank you for your help. Your services are no longer required." I stared at the note. He didn't write this. Vanessa did. But he let her. He let her lock me out. "Tell him," I said, tearing the check in half and throwing the pieces at Alfred's feet. "Tell him he's blind again. Only this time it's by choice." I walked away. I didn't cry. I was too angry to cry. He promised to marry me. He promised I was his world. And the moment he saw a shiny, rich alternative, he threw me away. Fine. Let him have his perfect fake life. I had my music, and I didn't need a billionaire to hear it. 1 month passed. I threw myself into my music. I practiced until my fingers bled. I auditioned for the city orchestra, and fueled by rage and heartbreak, I played like a demon. I got the spot. First violin. I moved into a slightly better apartment. I adopted a cat named Ludwig. I tried to forget Jasper Thorne, but his face was everywhere, on magazines, on the news. Billionaire Jasper Thorne recovers sight, reunited with socialite fiancé. They looked perfect together. The golden couple. I burned the magazines. One rainy Tuesday, I was leaving rehearsal when a black car pulled up. The window rolled down. It wasn't Jasper. It was Alfred. "Miss Vance," he said, "please get in." "No, thank you, Alfred. I don't take rides from traitors." "It's about Mr. Thorne," Alfred said, his voice urgent. "He's not well." "Is he blind again?" I asked, a cruel part of me, hoping the answer was yes. "No. He can see perfectly. But he's not living." Alfred got out of the car. He looked older, more tired. "He fired everyone. He sits in the dark all day. He listens to recordings of your music. He screams at Miss Vanessa." "So why doesn't he call me?" I asked bitterly. "He thinks you took the money," Alfred admitted. "He thinks you left him." "What?" "Vanessa told him you demanded a payoff. She showed him a forged letter. He believes you were only there for the cash." I felt the blood drain from my face. "That witch," I hissed. "Indeed," Alfred nodded. "But he is stubborn. He won't listen to me. He needs to see you. He needs to hear the truth." "Why should I help him? He believed her over me." "Because you love him," Alfred said simply. "And because he is dying without you. Not physically, but his soul is withering." I looked at the car. I looked at the rain. I hated him. I loved him. "Fine," I said, getting in. "But I'm not bringing my violin. I'm bringing my anger." We arrived at the manor. It looked exactly the same. Gloomy, imposing. Alfred let me in. "He's in the conservatory," Alfred said. "Vanessa is out shopping." I walked down the familiar hall. I didn't knock. I slammed the conservatory door open. Jasper was sitting in the same wicker chair. The blinds were drawn. It was dark. "I told you I didn't want dinner, Alfred," he shouted. "I'm not Alfred," I said. Jasper spun around. He stood up so fast, his chair tipped over. "Elara," he whispered. He looked haunted, thinner. His eyes were wide, scanning me as if I were a ghost. "You came back," he said, taking a step forward. "To clear my name," I said coldly. "I heard you think I took the money." Vanessa showed me the letter. "Vanessa is a liar," I shouted. "I tore that check up. I threw it at Alfred's feet. Ask him." Jasper looked confused. "But she said you demanded $1 million. "I don't want your money, Jasper. I never did. I wanted you, but you were too stupid to see it." I turned to leave. I had said my piece. "Wait." Jasper lunged. He grabbed my arm. "Let go of me." "No." He pulled me into his chest. "No, don't go. Please." He was shaking. "I'm sorry." He buried his face in my hair. "I'm so sorry. I was jealous. I was insecure. When she said you left, I believed it because I didn't think anyone could love a broken man like me without wanting something." "I loved you," I whispered, tears leaking out. "I loved the broken man. I loved the blind man. But this man, the one who let his ex-fiancée kick me out, I don't know him." "Then get to know me," he pleaded. "Let me earn you back." "Elara, please. The last month has been hell. I can see, but the world is ugly without you." He cupped my face. He looked into my eyes with such intensity, I felt like I was burning. "I fired her," he said. "Vanessa, I kicked her out an hour ago. I found the forged check in her purse." "You did?" "Yes. And I was coming to find you. I was going to beg on your doorstep if I had to." I looked at him. I saw the truth in his eyes. "You're an idiot," I sniffled. "I know." A rich, handsome, stupid idiot. Guilty. He kissed me. It tasted of salt and redemption. Play for me, he asked against my lips. I didn't bring my violin. Then just stay, he said. Just exist in the same room as me, that's enough. We sat in the conservatory as the sun went down. He held my hand. He didn't let go. I have a surprise, he said after a while. What? Come with me. He led me to the garage. He opened the door to a sleek black sports car. Get in. Where are we going? To the opera, he said. I bought tickets. Front row. I'm wearing jeans, I pointed out. You look perfect. He kissed my hand. But if you want, we can stop at a boutique. I want to spoil you, Alara. I want to give you everything I couldn't give you when I was blind. We went to the boutique. He bought me a dress, a shimmering blue silk gown that matched his eyes. We went to the opera. La Bohème. We sat in the private box. He held my hand the entire time. During the intermission, he turned to me. I have another surprise, he said. He reached into his pocket. My heart stopped. A ring? No. It was a key. For the manor, he said. Move in, please. Jasper? I don't want you in a leaky apartment. I want you here, where I can hear you play every morning. Is this a proposal? I teased. It's a pre-proposal, he winked. The ring is being made. It takes time to find a diamond that shines as bright as you. I laughed. He was cheesy and wonderful. Okay, I said. I'll move in. He kissed me. The crowd below applauded, thinking we were part of the show. Maybe we were. The blind billionaire and the musician. It was a good story. We returned to the manor late that night, happy and in love. But the lights were on, all of them. Did you leave the lights on? I asked. No, Jasper frowned. We walked inside. The living room was full of people, police officers, lawyers, and Vanessa. What is this? Jasper demanded. Jasper Thorne. A police officer stepped forward. You are under arrest. For what? Insider trading, fraud, and embezzlement. What? Jasper laughed. That's ridiculous. We have evidence. The officer held up a stack of files. Found in your safe. Jasper looked at the safe. It was open. I didn't do this, he said, looking at Vanessa. Vanessa smirked. I told you, darling. We belong together. If I can't have you, I'll ruin you. She had planted the evidence. She had framed him. Take him away, the officer ordered. No, I screamed, grabbing Jasper. He's innocent. She did it. Save it for the judge, miss. The officer pushed me back. They handcuffed Jasper. He looked at me. He wasn't scared. He looked resolved. Call my lawyer, he said, calm. Call Henri. And Elara. Yes. Don't worry. I'll be back. I can see now. I see everything. They dragged him away. I was left alone with Vanessa. You win, she said, lighting a cigarette. He's going to prison for 20 years. The company is mine. The house is mine. I looked at her. I looked at the smug satisfaction on her face, and something inside me snapped. I wasn't the scared music student anymore. I was the woman who tamed the beast. You think you won? I asked, walking towards her. You think prison can hold him? I picked up the vase, the one Jasper threw in Chapter 1, which had been glued back together. He's not the only one who can break things, I said. I smashed the vase on the floor. Get out of my house, Vanessa, before I make you. Vanessa laughed nervously. You can't make me. I have the police on speed dial. And I have the truth, I said. And I'm going to find proof, even if I have to burn the city down to do it. I walked past her, up the stairs to Jasper's office. I had a war to fight, and I was going to win. Jasper's office was a crime scene of scattered papers and malicious intent. Vanessa had been thorough. She hadn't just planted evidence, She had woven a web of lies so intricate it looked like the truth. Bank transfers to offshore accounts in Jasper's name. Emails authorizing illegal trades. It was a masterpiece of forgery. But she made one mistake. She didn't know about the secret safe. Jasper had told me about it one night when we were lying in the dark, behind the portrait of my great-grandfather. The combination is the date I met you. I walked to the portrait. I moved it aside. The safe was small, hidden in the wall. I spun the dial. The day I walked into the manor in the rain. Click. It opened. Inside was a hard drive and a journal. Jasper's journal. I opened it. The handwriting was shaky, written when he was blind, but it was legible. May 12th. Vanessa called. She demanded money. She said if I didn't give her shares, she would destroy the company. I recorded the call. I gasped. He had recordings. I plugged the hard drive into the computer. Dozens of audio files. Vanessa threatening him. Vanessa admitting to embezzling funds herself. Vanessa plotting with a rival CEO to frame Jasper. It was all there. Got you, I whispered. I didn't call the police. The police were in Vanessa's pocket. I called Henri Jasper's lawyer. Henri, it's Alara. I have proof. Meet me at the station. I grabbed the hard drive and the journal. I ran out of the office. Vanessa was in the hallway blocking my path. 2 large security guards stood behind her. Going somewhere, little mouse, she sneered. To the police? I said, holding up the drive. I have your voice, Vanessa. I have everything. Her eyes widened. Get it, she ordered the guards. I ran. I sprinted down the hallway, dodging the first guard. I slid down the banister of the grand staircase, landing on the marble floor with a thud. The second guard lunged for me. I swung my violin case, my heavy, sturdy case, and hit him in the knee. He howled. I burst out the front door into the night. My car, the cheap, beat-up sedan I had bought, was parked in the driveway. I jumped in, locked the doors, and gunned the engine. Vanessa ran out onto the porch, screaming, "Stop her! Shoot the tires!" I sped down the winding driveway, tires screeching on the gravel. A gunshot shattered my rear window. Glass sprayed everywhere. I ducked, keeping my foot on the gas. I reached the main road. I drove like a maniac, weaving through traffic, ignoring red lights. I had to get to the station. Jasper's life depended on it. Jasper sat in the interrogation room, handcuffed to the table. He looked calm, but his eyes were weary. The detective slammed a file on the table. Just confess Thorne. We have the paper trail. It's forged, Jasper said for the 100th time. And who forged it? Your fiancée, the grieving woman you cheated on. She's not my fiancée, and she's not grieving. She's a sociopath. The door opened. Detective, a voice said. You might want to see this. It was Henri. And behind him, me. I looked disheveled, covered in glass shards, clutching a hard drive. Alara? Jasper stood up, his chains rattling. Are you okay? You're bleeding. I'm fine, I said, walking to the table. I plugged the drive into the detective's laptop. Listen. I played the file. Vanessa's voice filled the room. I don't care if he's blind. I want the money. Frame him for the insider trading. Make it look like he did it before the accident. He won't even see it coming. The detective's face went pale. He looked at the other files. The timestamps matched the forged documents. This is, he stammered. This changes everything. It exonerates my client, Henri said firmly. And it implicates Ms. Vanessa Sterling in conspiracy, fraud, and attempted murder. Attempted murder. She shot at my car, I said, pointing to the glass in my hair. The detective stood up. Uncuff him. The officer unlocked Jasper's cuffs. Jasper rubbed his wrists. He didn't look at the detective, he looked at me. He walked over and pulled me into a bone-crushing hug. You crazy brave woman, he whispered into my neck. You could have been killed. I wasn't going to let her win. I sobbed into his shirt. I wasn't going to let you go back to the dark. We went back to the manor with a fleet of police cars. Vanessa was sitting in the living room drinking Jasper's wine, confident in her victory. When the police kicked down the door, she dropped the glass. "What is the meaning of this?" she shrieked. "Vanessa Sterling," the detective announced. "You are under arrest." She fought. She screamed. She cursed Jasper, she cursed me, she cursed the world. But they dragged her away in handcuffs. As she passed me, she spat at my feet. "You're nothing. You're just a musician." "I'm the first violin," I corrected calmly. "And the show is over." The house was quiet. The guards were gone. The police were gone. It was just us. Jasper looked around the living room. It was messy from the raid. "I hate this house," he said. "We can sell it," I suggested. "No," he shook his head. "We can change it. Open the curtains. Let the light in." He walked to the window and ripped the heavy velvet drapes down. Moonlight flooded the room. "Better," he said. He turned to me. "You saved my life. Again." "It's a habit." I smiled weakly. "I want to break the habit," he said, walking towards me. "I want to be the one saving you." "From what?" "From poverty, from loneliness, from bad landlords." He knelt down, right there on the rug. "I don't have a ring," he said. "The police took everything as evidence, but I have a promise." He took my hand. "I promise to listen to you play every day. I promise to never let you walk in the rain unless you want to. I promise to love you until my eyes close for the last time." "Jasper, will you marry me, Alara? Will you be my light?" "Yes," I whispered. "Yes." He stood up and kissed me. It wasn't a desperate kiss. It was a kiss of peace, of homecoming. "Now," he said, pulling back. "About that wedding night we missed." I laughed. "We're not married yet." "Details." He scooped me up into his arms. "I'm a billionaire. I can expedite the paperwork." He carried me up the stairs. The darkness of the manor didn't feel scary anymore. It felt like a blank canvas waiting for us to paint our future. Applause, cheering, a conductor tapping a baton, a hush. Carnegie Hall. The stage was bright. I stood center stage, my violin in hand. It was my solo debut. I looked out into the audience. The lights blinded me, but I knew where he was. Front row center. Jasper. He was watching me with an intensity that burned. He was smiling. Next to him was Alfred, looking proud in a new suit. I took a deep breath. I raised my bow. I played. I played for the girl who walked in the rain. I played for the man who lived in the dark. I played for the love that saved us both. The music soared, filling the hall, filling my heart. When I finished, the applause was deafening. Jasper stood up first. He clapped until his hands must have hurt. I bowed. I looked at him. He mouthed, "I see you." I mouthed back, "I love you." Later backstage, he found me. "You were magnificent," he said, handing me a single red rose. "You're biased." I kissed him. "I'm your husband." He grinned. "It's my job." "Ready to go home?" I asked. "Home," he repeated, tasting the word. "Yes, let's go home." We walked out of the stage door, hand in hand, into the New York night. The city lights twinkled around us. Jasper squeezed my hand. "Look." He pointed to the moon. "It's bright tonight." "It is," I agreed. "But not as bright as you," he said. I rolled my eyes. "Cheesy." "True." He pulled me close and kissed me under the street lamp. The world watched. We didn't care. We had seen the darkness. And we chose the light. Together.